Welcome or welcome back. If you are here for the first time, my name is Monika. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up for my Nigeria homecoming vlog. I really appreciate you being here. So today I actually wanted to follow up on it. More vlogs are coming, don't worry. But today I wanted to talk about what it took for me to actually be able to get to Nigeria from the UK where I live. If you've been here for a while, you know that I am Polish Nigerian. I was born in Poland to a Polish mother, Nigerian father, and I live in the UK. I have lived here in London for the past 20 years. I guess, this video is a personal story, so you may find it interesting because it was actually a fight, trying to get this Nigerian passport that took me to Nigeria, which, was such a big deal. I did not want to travel there on a visa as an outsider. I wanted to, go there as a Nigerian. So I chose to get my Nigerian passport, and I want to share with you the journey to getting it. I guess it's a story time in a way, but I am going to share quite a few practical tips as a Nigerian from the diaspora, how to get the passport, or whether it's even worth it to get it, right? So many people question the value of a Nigerian passport. So in a way, this video is directed at people from the diaspora, especially Nigerians, people who may or may not have the passport. There's a crackdown on dual citizenship, reportedly in the US. I mean, I don't live in the US, so I don't really know, but there is a lot of conversation happening around that. So I thought I would share my journey to getting the second passport, which is obviously the Nigerian passport. So this is just to show you, these are my passports: Polish passport, Nigerian passport. I live in the UK. Don't have the British passport. I might get one eventually, but I'm not sure if I really need it. I might talk about it in another video, actually. That's a whole nother story. So where do I begin? So yes, first of all, let me just say, if you have a Nigerian parent or grandparent, just one is enough to get the Nigerian passport. It doesn't matter where you were born. So yes, I was born in Poland. I've lived in the UK for the past 20 years, and I had never been to Nigeria until February this year. I had no documents showing that I am Nigerian until December last year, which is when I got my Nigerian passport. So this whole Nigerian thing, documentation, being a documented Nigerian is a new thing for me. Technically, I could have visited Nigeria previously many times because I kept going to Ghana on a visa. So yes, I was just on the border and I could have technically visited Nigeria before. But for that to be possible, I would have to go to the Nigerian embassy in Ghana or in London, get a visa to go to Nigeria. You can't go to Nigeria from Ghana on a visa to Ghana only, right? So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to enter Nigeria as a Nigerian. I didn't want to go there as an outsider. So I waited until I got my Nigerian passport. It was about identity. It was about self-respect. Nigeria isn't just a country I wanted to visit as a tourist. It's part of who I am. It's part of my ancestry. It's part of my heritage. Not only that, there are practical reasons why you may prefer to go to Nigeria on a passport rather than on a visa. So for instance, just to give you an example, in Nigeria, let's just say getting a visa to Nigeria is very difficult. I don't know why, because clearly Nigeria is not like a tourist destination that everybody wants to go to. But reportedly, from what I've heard, getting a visa to Nigeria is very difficult, and you can be denied for a silly reason. That's what I've heard. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you didn't have any issues getting a visa to Nigeria. But for me, I thought that if I'm going to go there, if I'm going to apply for a permission to enter the country, I may as well just apply for a passport and not just a one-time permission and spend money and jump through all these hoops, all the documents, presentation of the documents and this and that and something else, invitation letters, all of that, just to go to Nigeria. I may as well get a passport, which gives me then access to not just Nigeria, but also to Ghana, that I have been traveling to a lot, and other ECOWAS countries. Apart from having free access to ECOWAS, visa-free access to ECOWAS countries, as a Nigerian, it is a lot easier to navigate life in Nigeria because Nigeria, or even a visit, because Nigeria is can be very bureaucratic. For instance, just to register a SIM card, just to use a SIM card in Nigeria, a Nigerian number, a Nigerian SIM card, you have to have the NIN number, the national identity number. Without it, you cannot register a SIM card. if you are a foreigner living in Nigeria or someone who has visited Nigeria as a foreigner, tell me, how do you jump through that hoop? You can't even have a Nigerian number to use and call from unless you're Nigerian. That's like, wow, what do you do if you are not Nigerian? I mean, what type of hoops do you have to jump through? Please let me know. So that's one. Getting money was another challenge. When I was trying to get the money out of a cash machine on my British bank card, I was only able to get an equivalent of less than £5. I can't even remember how much it was, but it was like £2.50 or something like that, an equivalent of I think less than £5. So essentially, to be able to get more out, you have to just stand by the cash machine and just insert your SIM card, bank card, foreign bank card, a couple of times, let's say 20 times, just to get £100 out. Part of it is due to the forex limitations in Nigeria and the shortage of cash. Even locals have issues getting money out of cash machines or just getting money. And I mean physical money. I'm not talking about earning right now, which is another conversation altogether. I'm talking about the money you already have, whether in your bank account or, whatever, and you want to take it out. Once as a Nigerian, I could easily open a bank account. That deserves another story, but I could easily open a bank account, and then with my Nigerian bank card, I could take out like 4 times more. Still not a lot, but more. And also, if everything else failed, I could just go to the bank and withdraw, I think, an equivalent of 100,000 naira, I think, which is an equivalent of like £50 maybe, $66 or something like that, US dollars. So yes, I mean, another reason why, these were just some of the reasons why having that passport, going there as a Nigerian, just made life a little easier for me. Travel becomes easier. It opens this passport, and ECOWAS passport opens the door to other ECOWAS countries like Ghana, Ivory Coast, whatever, Togo. And I would love to be able to travel around Africa more. So to me, it was definitely worth having this passport. Then you've got the SIM card I mentioned, you've got the money, and there are many other reasons. But of course, it was largely about identity. It was about heritage. It was about reclaiming my Nigerian heritage. And yes, so to me, having this type of dual citizenship was worth it. I don't know if I said it before, like I've been listening to all these conversations about the US cracking down on dual citizens and all that. And I'm observing that conversation. It's really interesting. So I know some people may feel like having, especially a Nigerian passport, which doesn't even open that many doors, some people may feel like it's not worth it, but to me, it was worth it and it was important. So yes, but let me tell you about the process, because while it was worth it and it was important, the process of getting this passport was not easy at all. Again, I was born in Poland, I live in the UK, and the first thing that I needed was an introduction of a Nigerian citizen, a letter of introduction from the Nigerian consulate in either country, whether it's the UK or Poland or somewhere else, it doesn't matter. So obviously, at the time when I started applying, I think it was at the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021, or maybe 2021, I can't remember. There were so many complaints against the Nigerian embassy at the time in London. So, after hearing all of them, I was just like, okay, forget London and go to Poland. I decided to go to Poland to get that letter. At the time, it was quite easy to book an appointment at the Nigerian embassy in Warsaw. So that is what I did. So I went there with all the documents that they require. You can find the list on the website. And yes, I had an interview with the consulate, and I pretty much left with the letter of introduction. I mean, it was clear that my father was Nigerian, so I was Nigerian, so I was introduced through the letter. That letter was addressed to the embassy in London, just because at the time the Polish embassy did not handle passports. I came back to London. Now I needed to get the NIN number. You cannot get the Nigerian passport anymore without first getting the national identity number, the NIN number. So I booked an appointment in London this time around, thinking, okay, it cannot be that bad. So let's see what can happen. I went there. I actually recorded that video. It's part of my playlist titled Preparing for Nigeria or Prepping for Nigeria, something like that. I'm going to put it on the screen and you can watch it after this if you want to. So I actually documented that journey. It was quite challenging. And yes, but eventually I was able to book an appointment with an agency handling the NIN in the UK, in London specifically. I went there, they took my money, they took my fingerprints, they took, whatever information they wanted. And they told me I was going to get the number within like 2 to 3 days or something like that. The problem was I literally had to force the staff there to take my other documents, like my dad's certificate, birth certificate, my own birth certificate with his name on it and stuff like that. I don't understand. I knew this was going to be a problem already when I saw that the woman was not thinking. So what she wanted from me was just this passport, Polish passport. This is like, I mean, why would you think that this passport is going to get you a Nigerian identity number? This is not a Nigerian passport. Clearly, this passport shows that I am a Polish citizen, an EU citizen. Why would anybody who has any sense, common sense, think that they can get me an NIN number just based on this passport? Well, she argued with me that I shouldn't worry, that it doesn't matter, I shouldn't give her any other documents, just this is enough. How can just this be enough? Anyway, I'm still getting so frustrated when I talk about it now because it's just so ridiculous. Anyway, I forced her to take my father's birth certificate copy, his data page of his Nigerian passport, and my birth certificate. I don't think she processed it. I don't think they sent it to Nigeria, which is where, there's this central system they have where everything happens or doesn't happen. I don't think she took it from me. I could see that she printed it out and stuff like that, but I do not, or scanned it, but I don't think she sent it, because what happened afterwards was 3 years of waiting. It was a joke, almost 3 years. I kept calling, I kept sending emails. They kept telling me I should wait because, it's not up to them right now. So there's no accountability. The issue with this is that center was run by Asians. I have nothing against Asians, don't misquote me. But how can a country outsource such a crucial national service to someone or an agency that is not a national agency? What stake do they have in getting things right? I mean, how could this woman think that this passport is going to get me a Nigerian identity number? Like, there's nothing Nigerian about this passport. So yes, that was a nightmare. I kept calling, sending emails, no response. You have to wait, we just have to wait. Nobody says nothing. There's no accountability. There's no information, no feedback. 2.5 years gone by. I finally got frustrated to the point where I decided, okay, let me go back to Poland and see if I can get more joy while I'm there. So I went to Poland, and I actually come from a Polish city that's closer to Berlin than to Warsaw. So at some point I was considering going to Germany. So I called the embassy in Germany, and the woman who answered she sounded Nigerian. She told me what I needed to know. Like, she was super professional, and I was really impressed. So at some point I was like, okay, let me go to Germany maybe, instead of going to Warsaw, to Berlin specifically. But then at the same time I was about to meet my American Nigerian brother and sister in Warsaw. So eventually I was like, it's an additional trip. Just do everything. Just kill 2 birds with 1 stone while you are in Warsaw. So when I was in Warsaw with my brother and my sister, who are Nigerian Americans or American Nigerians, whatever, they will tell you they're Americans, but they are Nigerians as well. So yes, we went to it was like an NIN center, at the back of some store. The guy was Nigerian. So we went there, and I was so happy because I'm like, okay, he's Nigerian. He's going to know what needs to be done, and it's going to be great. How wrong was I? How wrong was I? The guy could not care less. He was like, how do I even know you're Nigerian? Kind of implied that I don't look or sound or anything like a Nigerian. So these documents that I'm presenting could easily be fake documents. It was a joke, you know. It was a joke. I got so angry at some point. I just started yelling at him. I just stormed out of the store. My brother stayed behind, tried to reason with him, but the guy just yelled at him, and it was a mess. It was such a mess. At that point, I was like, you know what, Nigeria, forget it. I am never coming to the country. I will never set foot on the ground. I felt so dismissed by the system, and I just did not want to deal with it anymore. I mean, 2.5 years of waiting, or however long. Then I go, you know, to my fellow Nigerian NIN center, and I'm totally dismissed as if I'm not even Nigerian. He didn't even bother to check or anything like that. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. So my brother, the Nigerian American brother, who first of all doesn't really get it, still, I don't think he still gets why I even got the passport, the Nigerian passport. In his mind, he's like, why would you want a Nigerian passport? Like, everybody's trying to japa. Anyway, he saw my pain and he saw my struggle. So he's like, okay, let me make a phone call. So he calls his uncle back in Nigeria. You know, the uncle is like a big guy who knows other big guys, and he knows people, right? So he calls the uncle. Of course, the uncle first laughed at my desire to get the Nigerian passport. I wasn't surprised.
The
like,
first place accepted it. It's she started the process 3 years ago in London. But it was a place run by Indians, and then it got stuck in the system. So she hasn't been, they took the application and everything, but then the NIN got stuck in the system. They were never able to retrieve the NIN. So she's trying to do it in a different place, that run by a bunch of Nigerians, and those are the ones that are rejecting her.
many people react this way, but I already have a Polish passport. I am settled in the UK. You know, I have options. So I wasn't obviously just getting a Nigerian passport or replacing any other passport or anything like that. I wanted it. I needed it. I wanted to have it additionally. Again, like I said before, it was about heritage, it was about identity, it was about so many things. It wasn't just about travel, but yes, it was also about travel. Yes, the Nigerian passport does not open doors to many countries, but it does open doors to a few more countries than my Polish passport. On top of my Polish passport. And again, it was about opening opportunities, potential opportunities in Nigeria, personally, professionally, culturally, you know, on so many levels. I just wanted to have that passport. It's my birthright. So anyway, after the uncle got the confused amusement out of his system, he started asking questions. So I sent him I told him everything that had happened, and I then followed up by sending the documents that he asked for. The next day, I remember we were sitting at the airport in Warsaw, getting ready to fly back to London, me, my brother, and my sister. And the phone rings, it's the uncle, and he's like, the previous application didn't go through, you have to apply again. Two and a half years, almost 3 years, just to hear this. Why didn't the Indians in London tell me this when I was calling and following up? Why didn't the Nigerian guy in Warsaw tell me this? So one other thing that he said was, oh, you just need to wait for the initial application to resolve itself. 2.5 years it had taken for it, and nothing happened. That one sentence would have saved me so much hassle going around the world, going back to Poland, thinking about going to Berlin. I mean, when I listen to myself right now, I'm like, you really went for it with this Nigerian passport. But it was important to me, right? That's all I needed to know. That initial application was unsuccessful. And of course it would have been, because how can you go apply for a national identity number for Nigeria with a Polish passport? I am sure that woman in that Indian agency handling this Nigerian matters, I'm sure she did not send the additional documents that I forced her to take. I'm sure she didn't. So anyway, Mystery solved. The previous application was unsuccessful. That is all I needed to know. So anyway, still at the airport, just right after the phone call, my brother just went online on his phone and searched for like NIN centers in London. And he found one. I mean, he found a few. We picked one. They asked me a few questions. It was a Nigerian guy, Nigerian-sounding Nigerian guy. You know, he asked the right questions, which was encouraging to me. You know, so I booked the appointment right there and then when I was in Poland still for a meeting in London. And at the time, my dad had come from America to London to visit. So I was like, why don't you come with me? My sister went with me and my dad. I took all the documents. The guy, of course, took my birth certificate, my dad's birth certificate. He asked for them straight up. My dad's data page, passport data page. Common sense. You cannot give an NIN number to somebody who holds a Polish passport. Like, you don't have to be Nigerian to know this. But anyway, so this is what happened. And, you know, he sat me down, took my fingerprints and my photo again. By again, I mean, I had done that previously. All that, I don't know what happened to it. So if you meet me somewhere in Nigeria, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what they did with my previous fingerprints and and passport photos. I also did not get my money back from that previous NIN number in London, so-called NIN center in London, the Asian one. I never got my money back. Anyway, never mind. So I paid again. I had to pay, of course, again, fingerprints, photo, payment. Within minutes, while I'm still sitting there, the NIN was generated. What? Almost 3 years of waiting, of stress, of going around the world, like, you know, in the search of somebody who's just professional, really, because this was not a complicated issue. I did not have to go through all this hassle. It's just the lack of competency. Anyway, we have our NIN number, right? Okay. So what's the address? Tell me. You're not on there.
It's 160 Maple Road.
160 Maple Road. Penge.
Sorry,
Crystal Palace.
The
Ouch.
postcode is SE20
Go on.
8JB.
Okay.
She's a media.
I just got my NIN after 3 years.
That's a big advertisement for you.
Oh my God. With the NIN number and the introduction letter, which I had gotten previously, I was ready to apply for my Nigerian passport. Oh my God, I was so excited. And yeah, so I went back home and I think I waited for like a week. The guy told me to wait for it to just, you know, generate itself properly on the system in Nigeria or whatever. So I think I waited for about a week. And then I went online, you know, registered for the passport appointment at the Nigerian embassy in London, the actual embassy, the proper one. So there are different agencies for the NIN number. And the embassy itself doesn't handle NINs, which I don't know why, but they don't. There are like different centers for NIN issues. So anyway, I registered for the passport at the embassy in London. And what else? Yes, the wait was a bit long. I think it was approximately 3 months, which I think is a bit long. But when I finally got there for my appointment, it went okay. You know, the guys were, you know, they knew what they were doing. They were asking for every single document. So like I said, there's Nigeria is very bureaucratic. So every single document that they say they need you to have on the website, you need to have it. Otherwise, you'll be sent away. And I did have everything they asked for, plus more, I think even. Like, I even had my old passport with my maiden name in it, which was Ogunmakin. Yeah, which was a Nigerian surname, right? So, and they don't ask for that, but I had it, you know? So yes, after the meeting, it took less than a week. And my passport just came through the door. And I was like, oh my God. Like my kids were here, I think. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to Nigeria. I've got my Nigerian passport. I was so excited. And they were like, okay, mom. Like, people don't understand. People just don't understand what it meant to me. It was important. Like I said, it wasn't just a document to me. It was reclaiming my Nigerian identity as a Nigerian living in the diaspora, or half Nigerian, mixed race, whatever, like a half Nigerian, someone who is Nigerian as well as Polish, as well as living in the diaspora in the UK. So yes, it was, that's the journey. And was it worth it? Yes, I would say so. if you watched my Nigeria homecoming vlog, you could see how emotional, you know, it was for me and how happy I was to be there. So I don't think it would have been the same if I was there on a visa. I think it would have been a lot more frustrating if I was there on a visa. So if you are from the diaspora, or maybe you've never even been to Nigeria, but you have a parent who is Nigerian or a grandparent, consider getting a Nigerian passport. One, it opens doors to ECOWAS countries that your current EU or, you know, American passport may or may not open. So yes, that's what I would say. And yes, I have been observing this conversation about dual citizenship being challenged by some countries. I think America and maybe Australia, was it as well? I'm not sure. I've been watching. I live in the UK. I've not heard anything about that here. I will see how things go. For the time being, I think it was worth it. It was a hassle, though. If you want to, you know, watch that in real time, I do have a playlist, prepping for Nigeria. And yes, more Nigeria vlogs are coming soon, so please stay tuned. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions about, you know, the whole process of getting the second passport, specifically the Nigerian passport. I might be able to help. Yeah, that's the journey before the journey, and I really wanted to share it with you because it was quite a journey. Thanks for watching.